Hey guys, hello and welcome to Azure DevOps Jumpstart session. My name is Anton Boyko and thank you for joining me today. So this format of pre-recorded session and then live Q&A, this one is kind of new for me as well. So I will really appreciate your feedback not only about the content itself, but also about the format, how we present it and deliver it to you. Before we start, let's say a few things about who am I in the first place. I'm a Microsoft Regional Director and also Microsoft Azure MVP based in Kyiv, Ukraine. I don't work for Microsoft, those are the titles, the awards, or the recognitions that Microsoft gives to me for my hard work. Here you can also see my email, and that will be the perfect way for you how you can basically share your feedback or ask any questions that you may have about this session or maybe some other more or less related topics. Let's go in a bit more details about what we have in our agenda for today. The first part is about leveraging your build templates. So let's say that you have some regular activities which usually repeat across all your pipelines. That can be, for example, restore the dependency, that can be building your project, running tests, and stuff like that. I will show to you how you can group those into the templates and then reuse those templates. So in that way, you will introduce kind of a standard way how you do stuff across all the different projects. The next part will be about parallelizing your builds. So let's say that you have a bunch of activities which can be run independently. And in that way, if you will run them in parallel, you will kind of speed up the total execution time of your build. In that case, you will get the results faster. In addition to that, most of the demos that I will show you today, they are based on my own pet project created with .NET Core, but I also understand that it's not .NET Core only. I mean, the Microsoft Azure DevOps, it's not limited to Microsoft technologies only. So I will use another project of mine to show to you basically how you can use non-Microsoft technologies to create and run your tests and then grab those results and incorporate them into the final outcome, the final report of your build. The next part will be about code quality and security. The idea here is that as a developer, I do understand that the security is important, but usually, at least that was my experience, it's really hard to start with this topic if you're not, let's say, the security expert in the first place. So I will show to you basically the basics, how you can get started with this topic and how you can proceed with the further learnings on it. The next part will be about using conditions to control your builds. So let's say you have different areas of your build. One is responsible for the deployment, and the other one is responsible for the rollback. And let's say that you want to create something like that. I will try to deploy my app, and then if everything is okay, I am fine. If not, only in that case, I want to run that part of the pipeline which is responsible for rolling it back to the previous successful deployment. So I will show to you how you can do that with the conditions. And the last but not least, I will also show to you in terms of managing your releases, your deployments, how you can define your environments and how you can get the traceability of which package was deployed to which environment and when and by whom. In addition to that, you may also understand that it's not like everyone can deploy to any environment. So basically, you may want to have some kind of gateways or kind of checks before those deployments. Today, I will show only the simplest one, that's the manual approval, but still yet very powerful and a good point to actually start with. Before we will jump into the main content of this session, what I also want to highlight is that for today, I will show all the demos based on Azure DevOps Service. In addition to that, there is another product called Azure DevOps Server. In 99%, they are the same. The difference is that one of those is basically fully managed and hosted by Microsoft in a cloud, and the other one you can download and install on-premise. But all the stuff that I will show to you today, those stuff are available in both. So let's get started. One more thing that I would like to talk a bit about before we'll start with the content of the main session is that let's talk a bit more about the context of the application from the real life. So usually when we try to use some new technologies, some new stuff in our project, we can face some issues, some road bumps and stuff like that. And the project that I will use today for most of my demos, that's one of my pet project, which is an open source project available on a GitHub. And I would like to talk a bit about the regular challenges that I faced as the potential maintainer of that project. So the first part is that the project is open source, which actually means that potentially any person who lives nearby the internet can submit a pull request. And the maintainers, and currently, as I was saying, that's me and partially one friend of mine, we may have not enough capacity to manually review each and every pull request. So we need to have some automation on that part. And in addition to that, the application that I will show to you today, this is the cross-platform CLI tool, basically. And that tool, it should behave in the same way on 3 major operational systems, like the Windows, Linux, and macOS. And again, as the maintainers, I may have not enough capacity to check how it actually performs on each of those systems. So I need to have an automation there. So that will be my challenges, and based on those challenges, I will show you the different features of Azure DevOps.